Okay, we're going to try something new tonight. We might get it right, we might get it wrong, but we're going to do our best trying to add a little flavor to what's been going on. And so we hope that you enjoy the broadcast this evening. We're going to be talking about Job in the book of Job, but before we get to that, we want to sing a song. I'd like for you to sing along with me. I know that my Redeemer lived and never prays for me. I know eternal life he gives from sin and sorrow free. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life he gives. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know that over yonder stands a place prepared for me. Oh, a house not made with hands, most wonderful to see. I know that my Redeemer lives. I know eternal life he gives. I know that my Redeemer lives. Well, we hope that you enjoy that selection. We know that we got a little technical difficulty. It's the first time we trying this, but we're going to get it right. And so we hope that you enjoyed it. I know that my Redeemer lives. We're coming from the book of Job, and we understand that Job is dealing with quite a bit of information. And anytime we talk about Job, we know that we're talking about some pretty interesting and powerful things, because Job is a powerful person, understanding that he works in a mysterious kind of way in his understanding of working with God. And so one of the things that we understand is that because who we're dealing with, anytime that we say Job, a lot of things come to mind. A lot of issues come to mind. A lot of things that we're dealing with come to mind. And so as we kind of look at Job tonight, we asked the question that we sent out on yesterday, and I appreciate all of those who have responded to the question. But we sent out a question on yesterday, and the question is, why was Job able to say? Why was Job able to say? And we went over to Job chapter 13 and verse 15. It said, why was Job able to say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him? And this is a powerful statement for Job to make. And to be able to understand all the things that Job was dealing with and all the things that he was going through, we don't have time tonight to kind of go deep into that. But when it came to this point in Job chapter 13, and Job said, though he slay me, I will serve him. Interesting thoughts, and I appreciate all of you who commented, because I did receive quite a bit of answers, and most of y'all answers were similar, and you deal with the fact that Job was faithful. And I agree with that. Job was faithful, and he was faithful to God in everything that he did. We learned that in Job chapter 1, where it talks about Job being righteous, and as a result of that, Job and God had this strange but unique relationship. And what we find that Job is able to just talk to God. He's just able to talk to God just like me and you are talking right now. It was like they had a good relationship and understanding of one another. And Job felt as though he could tell God anything, and he could talk to God about anything. And here we find in Job chapter 13, some interesting things takes place, because Job says, though he slay me. And what I got to be able to understand, first of all, is Job realized that God is in control of everything that takes place. He's in control of the good, and he's in control of the bad. There's nothing that slips by God. God is in control. And we know that God gave Satan permission to do what he did to Job. But Job come to this point where he's at a point where he started to question some things, and he started to look at some things, and he's saying, why am I having to deal with what I'm dealing with, per se? And so Job says, though he slay me, who's slaying me? Though God has allowed these things to happen to me, I would still serve him. I would still serve him. But one of the key things, when we look at verse number 16, we find that Job says that if I was a hypocrite, then I wouldn't be able to go before God. I wouldn't be able to plead my case. And this is what Job is dealing with. He wants to know, can I plead my case to God because of the fact, even though my friends, my wife, they're thinking that I have done something that I should not have done. And Job saying, I ain't done nothing. Me and God got a good understanding. God know I hadn't done anything. Or is he holding those things that I did in my youth against me? That's the question that he asked. And he said, look here, I'm not a hypocrite. I know that I haven't done nothing to cause this to come upon me the way that it has. And so he says, I want to talk to God. I want to defend myself. I want to go before God and ask God, why are these things taking place? But before I can defend myself to God, and before I can have this conversation with God, Job asked God for two things. And this was kind of interesting in the latter part of chapter 13. He asked God for two things. He said, look, I just want to defend myself. I want to be able to understand that I am not guilty or whatever I'm being accused of. But for me to be able to defend myself, one of the things that he asked God to do is he asked him to relieve him of the strife that he was suffering. He asked God to relieve him of the pain. And the reason why he wanted him to be relieved of the pain, he says, so I can concentrate on my defense. I thought this was kind of a powerful point, because Job says, I'm in so much pain, I'm in so much agony, that what I want to do is I want to defend myself to God. I want to have this conversation with God to try to understand why these things are taking place. But for me to do that, I can't concentrate because of the pain that I'm in. Kind of reminds us of some situations that we're all dealing with today, because we have some things that are going on around us that we don't understand. And sometimes we ask ourselves, why me? Sometimes we ask ourselves, why am I going through this? And why am I dealing with this? And why do I feel this way? And Job was at that point, and he said, look, I want to be able to, I know I haven't done anything wrong. I want to be able to talk to God. I'm asking God first, please relieve me of the pain so I can concentrate on my defense. The second thing that he asked God for is, he said, look, if these things, if you don't, and the second thing that he asked God for is, he says, I'm not afraid to die. And so if this brings me to the point of death, he says, I'm okay with that. I don't have no issue with that. If I find myself why I haven't done the thing that I'm supposed to do, death is okay. I'm not afraid of it in that sense. And so he asked God to just give me strength and give me faith, give me strength, and give me the ability to be able to defend myself, but then also give me the strength to be able to understand that God is working with me in a way where I can do those things that I need to do and talk to God in a way where God will answer and God responds. One of the things that we know that what God did is God did not answer Job. This frustrated Job to some strange degree. And as the more he tried to communicate with God, to get God to have this dialogue, this conversation, just to understand, why me? And I think sometimes that's the way we are in our lives. We're so concerned with why. We're so concerned with what I'm going through. And God is saying, look, all I want you to do is trust in me. I want you to have faith in me. I want you to rely on me. And I'm going to take care of everything else. And so Job says, though he slay me, I will trust him. And this is what I want to encourage us to be able to do today, is that though we're going through some things that we don't understand, I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to rely on God. I'm going to find myself doing those things that God would have me to do. that I might be able to inherit the kingdom of heaven in the end. So I want to encourage you today to read Job chapter 13, verses 1 through about 25 or 22, wherever that ends down there. And you'll find that as you meditate on these verses, you'll find strength in knowing that nothing that happened to you this day, all of your life, you're always going to be able to trust in God, to know that God is in control, and you want to have a relationship with Him where God will give you comfort when you need it. But if He doesn't, I'm still going to trust in Him. If I have to go through the pain, if I have to go through the agony, I'm still going to trust in God because I know that God is working something out on my behalf. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this evening, and stay tuned for next week because we have another question that'll come out on next week, and we hope that that God continue to bless all of us as we strive to live the life that God would have us to live. Thank you for tuning in.